This is going to be probably a little bit longer of a video. I would highly suggest going back and looking at it throughout the week because there's a bunch of stuff. But I'm just going to make one. And this is kind of an overview of the week, kind of helping you know how to pace yourself as far as the week goes. First of all, let's talk literature. While back. You should have already done like April the 28th, 29th, I think is when I said you should have already done the Prince Caspian vocab page, the very first page. Then from like April 28th, 29th, should have started working on reading a chapter, answering the questions. Reading a chapter, answering the questions. This is my daughter's lovely handwriting here, but you get the point. Reading the chapter, answering the questions. Remember, you're just doing the ones I circled. Majorly cut this packet down. I wanted to end with an easy, fun book. Easier packet. By now, you should be pretty much done with having read all 15 chapters, answered all 15 chapters worth of questions. If not, I would get it done today, tomorrow at the latest. So then you'll have the rest of the week to focus on going back and finishing up the transformation. Unlike my turkey over here, you should have already filled out the first box, and then as you read the middle, about the middle of the book, the middle, and then now you can finish the transformation page doing the end. Then doing the theme page, the crossword page, the indirect characterization on Prince Caspian, the indirect characterization on Prince Caspian. One of them's on Prince Caspian, one of them's on Aslan. And then after you've done all that, go to the back of the packet where you have the final project. Remember, for the final project, you'll pick one of the four. You'll do the creative part, and then you'll do the writing part. As far as the final project, if you want to email it to me, that's fine. That might be easier. But the rest of the packet, or all of the packet, as well as the book, you will turn in on Monday, May the 18th. Guys, I'm going to have a ton of stuff to grade after the 18th. When you turn it in, put your name on it. It is so difficult, especially for literature, because it's 24 of y'all, to figure out who in the world this is. The 8th grade, I can go, okay, Bailey, who's is this? The 7th grade, she's like, I don't know. Help me out. Also, 7th, 8th grade literature, you're my students. I teach you literature, so be sure you put it in my box. I keep finding literature stuff in Miss Stevenson's box, and she doesn't teach y'all literature. So make sure you put it in the right box. Make my life easier. So I'm not trying to figure out, play the game of who's, and not trying to figure out where stuff has been turned in, what random box it's been turned in. Next thing is, I lost it. Next thing is, oh, I probably took it out of the binder I had. The next thing is, on Friday I gave you the final exam, the test, which is over all 26 chapters of the book, and that's due on Friday. Don't wait till the last minute. As I'm going to explain, you're going to have other stuff that you need to be working on this week as well. So the goal of that was for you to work on 5, 10, 15, 20 questions. I don't remember how many there is total, but you get the point. A page a day. Remember, you're not going to do the sentence ones. The sentence multiple choice, I think, are just really hard to try to find. So don't worry about the sentence multiple choice ones. If you're friends with any of the 8th graders or 6th graders, you can ask them. Post on LMS. I'm stuck on this one. And I will gladly give you a clue. Rachel in 8th grade, she said, I can't figure out 41. So I told her it's on page 377. Hint, it's probably in your car or on your phone right now. The answer is GPS. And that's what I want you to do, is if other students get on first and see that somebody says I'm stuck on 41 before I get on and say, find it, then you can say, hey, I already found that one, it's on page 290, or it's in chapter 15, or I know one of them in 6th grade, Heidi was like, hey, that's on a quiz that we just took. So don't say, dude, the answer is GPS. Point them in the right direction if you've already found it. I'll be doing the same. The other thing, so long-term projects that you need to figure out how to pace yourself is the literature packet due Monday, May the 18th. The open book final exam due Friday, May the 15th. The other thing is that's due Monday, May the 18th is the Simple Solutions post test. I am not making an answer sheet for this. Way too difficult. This, I'm giving it to you now, so you can kind of have it in the back of your mind, be pacing yourself, but you're going to print it out, and then you are going to write the answers on the actual sheet, and then turn that in on May the 18th. I'll have a box where I will say, turn in literature and Simple Solutions post-test, because all 4 grades will be doing the same thing. Once again, put your name on it. I've got 44 of y'all to figure out whose is whose. Names. I would be working on this same thing, working on this slowly but surely between now and Monday. As you're doing Simple Solutions lessons, as you're doing other Simple Solutions quiz, you may have some of the same questions on your Simple Solutions lessons, Simple Solutions quizzes that are on here. So that's the long-term things. You need to be pacing yourself, working on it a little bit each night. The other thing is we're going to finish the book. So you're going to be reading chapter 26 a little bit each night. You're going to have 1 history quiz, 1 regular Simple Solutions quiz to do. So pace yourself. Okay, as far as chapter 26 goes, starts with the War on Terror is launch 9/11. Wish I could spend a lot of time going into 9/11. I don't. So basically just what it reads in the book is all you have time for. Know that, number 1, I know I spent more time on it last year, and next year we'll spend a lot of time on 9/11. Then, page 411. Do not skip over that 10 box on page 411. Some really good information there, because it goes through and explains the different groups. Whenever you're watching a news site, this stuff will be helpful. You may even want to take a picture of it. Your parents may want to take a picture of it, because it does a good job of explaining the difference between Shiites and Sunnis, and who the Hezbollah is versus who Al-Qaeda is versus who Taliban is. All that stuff will be helpful as far as keeping up with current event type stuff. Also, on a fun note, if you like watching any of those, cop shows or any of those military shows, or this is good information too, because they'll talk about the Shiites and the Sunnis and different terrorist groups and like NCIS and stuff like that. So, if you read this, pay attention to this, that'll help the shows make even more sense. And then it keeps going on talking about some of the issues with the Middle East. In 26.1, 26.2, not going into a lot of detail, you're going to read it, all of the chapter. 26.3 talks about more modern things with Barack Obama, stuff like that. Keep in mind, Abeka is biased. Abeka does not try to always hide its bias. It very much believes in presidents that believe in small government and less welfare, less helping people, more people doing stuff on their own, taking care of themselves. So I will let you make your own opinions, just throwing that out there. Be aware of that. And then it ends with natural disasters. Hurricane Sandy. And environmentalism. So that's a very quick overview of chapter 26. Be sure to read the Stewards of God's Creation down there, that little box. I never can remember if it's the 7th or 8th grade year that you have to memorize the creation mandate for Mr. B's class. So next year you will have to remember, memorize the creation mandate, which
Maybe
is
the 7th. I don't actually know. I had them for both years.
It's 8th grade. My daughters are helping me out here. So next year you will have to memorize the creation mandate for Genesis 1:28, which is mentioned there in that tan box. And he will spend a lot of time talking about the creation mandate. So, kind of giving you a heads up there. Okay, I don't even want to know. I'll just give you a heads up. It's crazy town around here. Luckily, we have 2 computers, but we only have 1 mouse, and so my kids are passing the mouse across the house. It's crazy town around here.
Baby gave me the.
Just go. Anyway, so apparently Bailey's playing a trick on Will with the mouse, and they're both supposed to be doing homework. It's crazy town. So that's basically this week. And I just want to end by saying I love you all. I miss you all. Hate the way that this is all ended. And I really hope to see all of you next year. Also, little something about next year, give you all a little hope. I'm sure my daughters who are here will back me up. Weirdly enough, for me, your 8th grade year is easier than your 7th grade year.
Definitely.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, yes.
First of all, it's American history, which is much better to understand. There is no massive, 200-point geography projects. I don't know why they give you those in 7th grade, but they don't in 8th. The geography projects go back to not exactly like the 6th grade ones, a little bit harder than 6th, but easier than 7th. I don't know why that works out that way. You do have more quizzes in 8th grade, but they're easier quizzes
Super
because
easy.
it's on American history. That's easier to understand. And I give you awesome study guides, so all you got to do is study them, and it's 10 questions. So you may end up having a quiz 4 out of the 5 days of the week, but they're going to be easier quizzes. And if you make those awesome study guides, they're going to be easier. So that's kind of a plug for 8th grade. You've made it through the hardest year with me, at least. With Mr. B, with prayer journals, next year's good. But with me, at least, you've made it through the hardest year. So from here, it kind of goes downhill as far as difficulty. So, love you all, miss you, hope to see you next year.